amazing that all my very close friends happen to play tennis. And with you, yes, you're on the top. Here's to you.
I'll drink to that. To Ron.
On the longest, but it's close to that because it's been about 65 years. I think. I remember coming up from San Diego to play in tournaments. I remember once when we played in Coronado, when you came down to my territory. But so we've known each other for so many years, and one of the real pleasures early in my life was when Ron invited me to stay at his home for one of the tournaments up here, and I got a chance to meet his family, and I was so fascinated because it was a lifestyle and a family totally different than anything I'd experienced. I remember that the family gave a dinner party and had a lot of their friends of your father and mother, very intellectual type folks talking about current day issues, and I just was an observer sitting there just fascinated and noticed something I'd never experienced, you know, wine being served to everybody. I think maybe you and your sister had some, and I thought, gee, that's really something. And I remember during those early years, you know how competitive tennis players are, but it was not just tennis. We played ping pong, and we competed in everything. And I remember Ron asking me once if I wanted to play chess when I was staying at his house. And I didn't know too much about chess, but I knew how to play. We were playing. All of a sudden, we got to a certain point. He said, wait a minute. And he runs into another room, and he gets a book. And he said, I remember seeing this situation. And about 4 moves later, it's checkmate.
Cheating. That's how he plays tennis. I bet that's the way he plays tennis.
Hours line call.
We had some wonderful times together. We played the doubles in a lot of tournaments. I remember we were not very nice to our opponents. I remember we had like first round 3 weak opponents in a tournament in Ventura, and we decided to try to see how fast we could win. What was the minimum amount of time? And so we'd run, changing sides. But we had a lot of great times together, and I certainly treasure our friendship, and wish you many, many more years and many more birthdays.
Yes.
Friend or whatever, and I'm the newest, probably from the East Coast, so I have had to live West Coast tennis vicariously, and I can think of nobody better to have learned from than Ronnie. When we first moved here, he was one of my first tennis buddies, and it's easy to get Ronnie to talk about tennis, so he would tell me about all the tournaments he almost won. He told me his greatest strength was picking his doubles partners, and he also eventually had to prove to me of his expertise by taking out, pulling out old draw sheets and everything, because I was a little incredulous about his tennis history. But it's been a great thrill.
And you still are.
Part of this group of such great players, and we didn't know how to play much on the East Coast. We would play for a couple of months and then have a good time. So that was it. But we've enjoyed our tennis associations here.
Ronnie, back to the Damon Runyon days. Ronnie, I've only known Ronnie for 60 years. You probably have known him longer, but we played at a court that had the strangest group of people. There was Five-Fingered Freddie and Freddie the Fox and all these people, so that when Ronnie went to Notre Dame and wrote a paper on it his first year, the professor did it and said this was not supposed to be fiction. Anyway, Ronnie's great claim to fame with Gordon is that they introduced me to
I do have to say something on behalf of the non-tennis players.
All two of you.
I know there are a number of people at this table. This side, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 of us. I know what it feels like to be on the side of to be discriminated against, to feel exclusion. The thing that we treasure is not tennis. We don't understand that. See that thing over there? That's that we throw for a dog to catch. we are devotees of the 12-tone system. I'm sorry. And nothing's changed from the 60th birthday when we felt like the outcast, and nothing's changed. People shun us, they don't talk to us, they have nothing to do with us. But now that we're approaching Ron's age, in a few months, Barbara isn't. But we've been talking about maybe, retirement may be a possibility, and we could take, at our age, is it possible to take tennis lessons? Absolutely. And the thing that attracts us to the game is, I do know something about keeping score, and they use the word love, which we need more of in a society. But what drives me crazy is that it is the most competitive game, and I know Richard Moss will kill for a point, and love just doesn't seem to work. I don't get it. And love is when you've got 0 points, right? What is love the lowest? Yeah.
Love is the lowest.
So that shows where they put love. And so as the outcasts, we're privileged to be here. We are privileged to know Ron and Barbara. They're wonderful people, and his brother and his lovely wife, Anne. We've spent time together, and we've enjoyed music and cultural events together. And so thank you for having us here again, and we wish you many more happy birthdays.
Another non-tennis player in Ron's life, known each other since 1964, and our activity is a less competitive activity. It's lunching, and we have been having lunch. I was trying to remember when we started having lunch every
I know when I
other
was
week.
the commissioner, we did it.
Yes.
In Beverly Hills.
It was sometime
in the 70s.
Earlier than that.
60s, yeah.
In the late 60s, we started
before we
having
were
lunch.
born. Don't go back.
Before we were born, no, it wasn't.
Before we were born.
Well, I don't know. We'd have to look at the record, but it was, and wherever he happened to be working at the time, that's where we'd have lunch around there. When he was commissioner, we had in Beverly Hills. He was in West Los Angeles Court, we had lunch around there, Dolores or someplace like that. Downtown, we had lunch downtown. And we continue to do that. And I hope we can continue to do that for 30 or 40 years more. But I was thinking today, as I thought about saying a few words, what is it that is so compelling about our having lunch together? Because it's not such a terribly intense conversation. Sometimes it has been over the years. In the OJ crisis, in my crisis with Judge O'Neill, you remember, we've had some hard times and supported each other, but generally it is just sharing the day-to-day events of life. There is something so gratifying about being able to do that with an old friend who you know cares and for whom you care. And that's something that I prize enormously. And when I think of Ron, what I think of, and I've said this to him many times, is that we started talking when he was a lawyer and I was a professor, and then when he was a judge and I was a lawyer. He thinks things through for himself. There is nothing of the conventional in his thinking. It's all something that he's worked through, and that's always interesting and stimulating, and sometimes he's right.
Like on jury nullification, right?
But not on jury nullification. He's still wrong on that. He's still wrong on that. But even when he's wrong, and even when we argue, and I thought about this, and actually, Jane said to me today, well, what about the periods of rifts you've had between you? You assume there are going to be those over more than 40 years. And there really haven't been any. Somehow, and that's the other thing about him, his good-humored nature.
The preamble before this dinner was a tennis party
And I want to say I think we all had a good time today. I did the pairings on it. It seemed to work out okay. We have one clear-cut winning team. We have George here and Ricky, it turns out. They won all their matches. And the rest of us all came in second. The rest of us all lost.
I have a prize.
So I guess the pairings were reasonably good. But there was something about Ricky. I can't put my finger on it. But there's something different about him from the rest of us. The rest of us That's right.
You too.
Not that George wasn't a very strong partner. Should have put Ricky with somebody else, but they were very dominant. But anyway, it's really quite remarkable. I mean, the long-term friendships here. And I remember with Ronnie going back to Junior Davis Cup and our Pacific Northwest tour together, and we used to play all the time at Douglas Park. But I remember one of the funny things is that we talk about before we would play anybody, we always wanted to know what their credentials were. Somebody wanted to approach you and play a match, and well, are you ranked or how did you do? We just play with anybody. But anyway, it's been a great pleasure and honor to know you all these years and have our regular tennis every Tuesday afternoon and other times sometimes too. So.
Unless he says no.
Summer of 1955, Westerners in Champaign, Urbana. And we met, we started to play doubles. We played doubles at tournament and also Kalamazoo. I don't know if we won a match, but we were ranked that year.
17.
And then I don't think we had any
17th,
contact.
we got ranked without beating anybody. Without beating anybody, we got ranked
And then
17th in
I
the
don't think
nation.
we had any contact until I came out here in 1970 and we picked up right where we left off. Very interesting. We've been good friends at the present time and still even play tennis. Anyway, many more years of tennis.
Liquor lobbyist in Sacramento years ago named Artie Samish.
Yes.
If you remember
Yes.
about him. But Artie Samish was Earl Warren said he was the most powerful person in California. And one time the legislatures did something that Samish didn't like, or a legislator. And Samish said to him, you know, he said, I'm going to go down to Skid Row. I'm going to pick up a bum on Skid Row. I'm going to run him against you, and I'm going to beat you. And he did it. Now, he picked up this guy. Now, I was thinking about that story when a few of us decided to run Ron for judge.
Against the family judge.
We took somebody from
nowhere.
Nowhere.
For a punchline.
That's good enough, don't we?
No, we're all very pleased to be here, and congratulations on being so much older than the rest of us.
Confess what I'm going to read. I wrote for your 50th birthday, and I pulled it out, and nothing's changed. 25 years.
Certainly there weren't any more tennis wins.
That's perfect. You're just a lot slower. That's all. Here we go. It begins with Ronnie, of course. Ronnie and I have been friends for so long that the early years are opaque. We met across a tennis net. He thought I was a piece of cake. The first time that I played him, all I knew was his seed. It didn't take long for me to learn he was very good indeed. He was different from the other lads. For one, he was very short. As he took his backswing to hit his serve, his racket dragged on the court. True fact. He was also a tennis pioneer. If I can be most candid, would you do to stop this guy who hits the ball two-handed? He was always a favorite of Perry Jones. He got his rackets free. I knew this guy was talented, but how good could he be? Over the years, we played a lot. I even moved up a run. My mother survived our matches by smoking a pack. Ron's mother would mutter, "Ah, Tom." We had made our name in singles, so we decided to play doubles. Instead of finding synergy, all we found was trouble. Despite our lousy teamwork and matches that we blew, through college, law, and the Army, our friendship only grew. As the years wore on, our rivalry continued, our strokes in disarray. We would early on be winded and have blisters to display. From winded, we went to huff and puff, and into grunt and groan. When the tennis was behind us, Ron wanted to be prone. He's bigger now than when we met. He just doesn't have as much gas. He used to drag his racket, now he drags his ass. Tonight, my friends, I guarantee you'll get a lot of shit. All of your alleged friends will exhaust their paltry wit. But this night should be more than just a roast. There should be a toast or two to a pillar of our community and the family that he grew. The book on Ron has changed a bit from what it was at the start. He's lost some of that blinding speed, but he's got an even bigger heart. The electorate heard of his no bad calls, and as age 7-5 arrives, we want you to know of our esteem and how you've enriched our lives.
Oh, that's terrific.
Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, Victoria, Vancouver, Victoria. We really had a great time.
You did, because you beat everybody up.
And we were placed in people's homes in each city. So the Tennis Association had to write ahead to introduce us. And Perry T. Jones wrote a letter about Ronnie and me that began, both boys are Jewish, but I'm sure you will find it. I forgot exactly.
But both come from very
But
good
it was
families.
complimentary.
He said both, Ron and Tom are both Jewish, but both come from very good families. This was great because when we went on this tour, there was it was always held at a big country club place, and there was always one very rich Jewish family. So we got the best house. Until the problem was when Friday came around and they were giving us dinner or something, and I wouldn't eat meat. You see.
Because he was Catholic.
Then they figured something was wrong. Then I would go to church on Sunday. And this was at other times, when Tommy and I would go to church on Sunday, and then I'd go out and play Tommy in the finals, who'd been sleeping in this bed next to me, because we were good friends and roommates. And I always wondered why did he beat me? I went to church. So that's how I discovered my Jewish heritage. I'd like to thank everybody individually and tell stories about all the matches with each of you. And then we can stay here for the 80th. But I feel especially thankful for the non-tennis players who are here and who talk so nicely, because I look around the room and I'm thinking, adding up my wins and losses, it's like 85-3 when I add these up, and it's nice to have somebody here who I don't have to do that. And you sort of just wanted to say one thing about love, because my father wrote a little thing on love, and he called love, he was trying to explain how you keep score in tennis, and it's very hard, and why do they use love, and he explained it sort of in Wagnerian terms, that love is the desire, the longing for a point. That's why they call it love. So that's why that's a little. Then he goes on with most of it's tongue-in-cheek.
That's good.
But as I say, all the tennis players, I don't want to go through all my matches with all of you.
But he knows that.
Right, but he could.
Especially because they're all losses. I only wins, only lost. With these people, I don't have to worry about losses. But I do, there's one person who I do have to pay a little tribute to out of the ordinary, and that, not you, her. She knew, I know. Barbara's made all,
Oh my God.
I can't give Barbara credit for my tennis before I met her. But for everything else, you know, as I said, and they liked that speech I made. What was that I said? They were doing an interview on her father, and they asked me something about what was the high point, and I said that she sort of made my life possible, because I was going nowhere. And I met her and persisted and practically kidnapped her into marrying me. She had no choice. As some of you know.
Between a tennis friend of ours and a French lady who plays here at the club as well. And he got to the part where they were repeating the vows. And he said, for rich or for poor, and she said, what? And the whole place fell apart. I don't know how you managed to keep a straight face up. It wasn't easy, but we've had a lot of fun playing tennis, and being the oldest person who plays with you.
I never considered you older.
Yeah, I'm older, trust me, I've been there, I did it. 75 was years ago. Anyway, you're really not old until the fat lady sings.
You're not old until the fat lady sings.